Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today I am here with my lovely friend of 20 years, Holly O'Taylor. Holly is an incredible musician, singer, songwriter, and lovely friend, and I'm so excited I get to share her with you today. So Holly, you know, they say those were the good old days and so are these. It's just so lovely to sit with you, chat with you about life and music. We've just had such a great time. I remember many years ago now, we'd sit around your big, beautiful ruby red piano and just arrange the night away, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I look forward to the day when I can have a space for that in my own home, you know, so it's still there, and definitely still arranging, so, but to be here with you and do a little music with you is going to be a treat, so.
Yeah, oh. And we were in a band together at that time too, weren't we?
Yes.
So, yes.
Very neat, very neat.
Yeah.
An ensemble.
It was, yeah.
Yes. Harp, piano, voice, maybe a little percussion here and there. Yeah. Maybe some guitar.
I think you had marimba.
Oh, okay, we did.
In
Neat.
there, yeah.
Neat.
Yeah. So we kind of met in the middle of your music journey, would you say? Kind of beginning, not beginning, but
Right.
middle of your
Yeah.
professions.
Yeah, I got started a little bit early. As a kid, I was definitely interested in music. Kind of started off experimenting in the world of dance, and then it was all about the rhythm more for me. And so as soon as I had a keyboard as a toy, I would start playing melodies. I would hear whatever was on the radio and I'd try to find that. And so I started piano lessons when I was in 3rd grade, going into 4th grade. And
Very early in life, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that for me was really the marking of the journey at the start of where I started to take that first step for myself. I was always immersed in music. My dad played electric guitar and just listened to music all the time. And yeah, I was definitely encouraged in that direction. And so not long after that, going into 5th grade, I needed an instrument that I could play in the school band. And so we kind of set out again, and this time it was more almost ethereal, because we were just driving down the highway and saw this flea market or yard sale or something going on out in the middle of nowhere. And there was this bright, gleaming silver beam of light that was shining on something over there.
Oh wow. I've not heard this story.
No, I don't think so. But and so we stopped, we turned around, because it was such this like just we needed to see what this was.
Yeah.
Such it was a spectacle. So we went and we found that it was the snare drum. It was a red glittery snare drum that was catching the sunlight.
Oh my god.
And so I said, well, I could play that in band next
Yeah.
year.
Oh my gosh.
So we did.
Yeah.
So we bought that, brought it home.
Oh wow.
And we didn't have a proper case for it, so my great aunt had this floral round suitcase, so we put it in. So I was
Oh
the
my
only
gosh.
female percussionist there with my
Yeah.
floral
Yeah.
case.
I love it. Wow.
But
That's
then,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I found out in band that I couldn't make a sound on any wind instrument at all. So it was perfect. So I was like, oh,
So it worked out.
it was for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And so, I mean, you're a music therapist, you're a singer, songwriter, now a recording artist as well, live entertainer. I mean, we have some young musicians watching, I'm sure, and what would you say your path, okay, so going from, you see this, you get the sun beams down on this drum and it's like, you know, what was your practical path from there? You know, you go to band, you're through school and everything. From there, how did you get to where you are today? You're performing, recording music is now your full-time profession.
It is, yes.
How do you get from that to full-time?
Right, and
Yeah, what was your path?
I feel like not too many people are full-time musicians. A lot of times we're half musicians and half another job to support our musician hobby, basically.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that, I've had to go down a lot of different avenues of music, and so I also teach music at schools, private lessons, and so from that time as a kid, I was really blessed because the music teachers that I went to really knew how to find that way to get a scholarship if I was able to, marimba.
Can you just to stop you for a minute, for someone who doesn't know what a marimba is?
Yeah.
I mean, I had never seen one before I met you. So, but can you describe kind of what that is? And,
So a marimba is related to the xylophone. It's bigger, its tone is more soothing. It's kind of an open tone, soft wood sound, and it can be 6 feet long or more.
Several octaves, isn't it?
And and so oftentimes you might play with 2 mallets, you might play with 4 mallets, and so it's quite a versatile instrument. My college professor was his specialty was Mexican marimba, and so that had its own unique sound. But you have the basis of marimba in Africa, very ancient roots of the instrument.
Yeah. Oh wow, fascinating. Yeah. So how many songs do you feel that it takes to get a good song? I don't say that all your songs aren't good songs, but that one that you think is going to be, that has that edge, and I guess tagging onto that, do you find that you have to write a lot of songs to get to that place? And then, how many unfinished songs does that leave you with?
Right. So one thing I've heard from people in the profession is you'll find one great song per 100.
Wow.
And so that's a lifelong process. So right now I think I've written close to 150 songs in my lifetime right now. But I have favorites, and then people have favorites, and they might not be the same.
And your genre, you have a crossover. I mean, you have a lot of deep root in folk music, but you also have a pretty diverse.
Right, because I have my background was really classical music and percussion, classical percussion, and then kind of adapted, went through contemporary Christian music, and then on to singer-songwriter, and then kind of found myself in this folk realm, which is very broad, very broad. And I love to bring in world music to the picture. I love to mix up my instrumentation, rather than just a guitar and a voice. I want to have a cello player or a harp or a percussionist.
And you bring in other musicians, don't you, on some of your tracks?
And that's been my favorite recording experience, is to feature soloists. I've had a violin, a French horn soloist, a cello player recently. So.
Beautiful. Yeah. So, I mean, you literally play I think at least 10 instruments or more. I mean, you can correct me, but I mean, do you mind telling us about a few of those? You've told us about the marimba, and we've talked about your grand piano a little bit, but a few of those, and I mean, do you have a favorite one? Is that fair to ask?
Yeah, I think so. So in playing percussion, that covers me for 10 or more instruments. That's you learn timpani, snare drum, drum set, marimba, all the mallet percussion, crash cymbals. There's really, there's an art to all of those little things. And then in college I picked up guitar a little more seriously. Piano's always been my favorite. And marimba is kind of a combination of piano with percussion. And so I've kind of focused in on the basic 3, which is the percussion, guitar, and piano. And my favorite is teaching piano to those intermediate students who are really getting into the more beautiful pieces and working on expression, but also just playing drum set is really fun for me, so it's a great outlet.
Now, do you ever teach I probably heard you play the other day on my very out of tune piano, but it was still, it was beautiful. And I was like, oh, Holly, what is that piece? I'm just improvising something. Like, what? So, I mean, do you ever teach that kind of improv or?
Yep, my teaching philosophy is to teach people to play by ear, by reading music, by reading music charts, and then from there we'll branch out and let them be able to improvise, be able to use chords and use melody together to create their own music, maybe do songwriting if that's in their interest.
Yes, you really tweak it to who you're working with and what they want out of it, not
Exactly.
just that here's what you have to do
Right,
today.
right, yeah. No, and that way I get a different experience with each student too. So it's always fresh.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I've been really fascinated with talking to you about kind of where you're at now with your teaching studio and everything. It's just the unique approach that you have with that. It's just the kind of the energy behind everything. And kind of like what you were saying to me this morning about how everything we do stems from this place of energy or this frequency that in everything that we do. And so, I mean,
yeah, that's kind of our unique signature, and it definitely comes through in music and art. But everybody has certain qualities that they bring to the world, and if they can express that musically, and I can help them do that, then I'm touched by that. So
it's amazing. Yeah. Okay, so there's something I've been wanting to ask you this whole time, the whole couple days we've spent together, and I'll kind of explain what I mean by this too. But what do you think about the concept of practicing something the wrong way, but still calling it practice and just hammering it out because I gotta practice? And so I'll kind of explain why I'm asking this. I recently listened to a master class where he'd been a concert violinist, and anyway, he'd gone another path, but he was saying in practice to have this kind of conversation with yourself about what it is exactly that you're stumbling with, and stop in your practice and say, okay, and it's almost like this third, he suggested talking to a rubber ducky, saying, okay, he calls it a practice buddy, and at first it was like, what are you talking about? But as he explained it was like, oh, okay. He says, okay, rubber ducky, why am I struggling with this? And really breaking it down, and then coming back to your practice and going at it from that angle rather than, I gotta practice and just getting all uptight over. I mean, do you have any kind of reflections on that?
Absolutely, yeah, I do. So first of all, practice should be in short spurts and focused. Playing for fun is a different setup, a different scenario, a different experience. And so I like to do both. Definitely breaking down to the smallest space that you can in practice is the best advice. And what I do is I bring it down into maybe not even a whole measure, and then from there you go and maybe you bridge that into the next measure, and then you go forwards and backwards. And so you really learn it in different ways. I do different rhythms, change the rhythm, change the feel, try it as a swing tune, try it as a classical.
Oh, that's interesting. So taking the same piece of music but giving it a different
just using
emphasis.
the same notes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you do that, then you really start to own those notes, and then when you come back to what it really is, you're like, oh, this was easy.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Wow.
And so you just take that zeroed in focus and section, and then bring that back out and bring it back into the context, and then it smooths it over. So
that's really interesting about giving different. I hadn't thought about putting different genre spins on it to really bring it out of the box it's in.
Right, because a lot of times it's us needing to look at it differently, and so if we can let go of the rhythmic piece, or let go of a jump or something that's the focus, that's the issue, and we can get out of that and think of something different, we're distracting ourselves from that, and it's then we have access to it.
That feels like a life parable. So Holly, it feels a bit cliche to ask you what inspires you. So I mean by that, how do you make art when life just feels too busy or noisy, or when you just feel dead inside? I mean, I feel that way sometimes. So I mean, how do you deal with that? What do you do with it? How do you break through that?
Yeah. So I say I'm a window seat kind of girl, and so I'm always watching, always looking to nature, looking to something, and so it's like when, for the most part, it's like I can keep that vision going and find little inspirations here and there. Even even little things. Like I have a game that I play with my youngest son, and every day he asks me, what was my favorite color today? What was my favorite animal today? And so you start to look for those things, what was my favorite today? And so that kind of keeps that magic going. And then sometimes, you are too busy, and so instead of making music, maybe focusing on a different kind of expression. So yeah, or just, appreciating appreciating music along the way, or
not always having to be the one doing the creating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I find that.
Yeah, and I think there's kind of a natural rhythm for me. There'll be times when I write a lot, and then there'll be times that I don't, that I'm just kind of more observing mode. So yeah, so just kind of allowing
your tank back up.
Right, right. Allowing it to be as balanced as it can be. But then I think relaxing is a big way to refill the creative.
Yeah, tell me more about that. This fascinates me, and I think, yeah, what do you do to relax?
Well, lots of things. I think the core factor for relaxation is really breathing, and so being able to settle down long enough to focus on taking deeper breaths, whether it's you're counting to 4 and holding for 4 and breathing out to 4 and breathing and pausing again. So there's a lot of different tricks to help you focus on getting into that rhythm. Some of my studies in music therapy have to do with drumming and changing brain wave states. And so if you change your breathing, you're going to start to affect your brain waves into those more creative...
I feel myself relaxing. Yeah.
Into those more creative states, those alpha states that you are able to, have a little wider perspective and more access to.
I feel like this could be a whole conversation on its own. That's amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who specialize in that sort of thing. But as a music therapist, I have led relaxation sessions for people. The latest avenue that I have experimented with for myself and providing sessions for people is in sound therapy, sound healing. And so utilizing tones to help us to focus. But really those tones are informing our body of rhythms and pitches, and so that are natural. They're not in a stressed state.
So we were talking about this last night, and I just felt like my mind was blown. I mean, I'd heard some of it, but then you started going into the body tuning, and I'm like, whoa, what's that? So, I mean, does this kind of where that goes into body tuning a little bit? Yeah. Can you explain what that is?
Right. So, in addition to sound bowls, maybe crystal or maybe a Tibetan metal sound bowl that have certain frequencies, there are also tuning forks that you can use. And there is a specific type of training called biofield tuning. And so the biofield is considered just the energetic circle that surrounds your body, and that is your energy field. And so when you get too close to somebody, you kind of feel like you change that energy field into somebody. You're bumping into somebody else. I'm
bumping into your energy field right here, but it feels your energy field is always so stable and peaceful. I mean, it's just
good. So we can use those tuning forks to hear how they resonate in that field. And so maybe up here they might be kind of sharp or flat, maybe.
And this is an actual physiological thing as well, right? I mean,
it's
just mind-blowing.
Measurable sound waves.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Even a virus has a certain frequency and a certain pattern that we can listen for. And so, but it informs our body when we hear or feel those frequencies, then our body wants to match those. And so we have the ability to entrain our systems of rhythm, if we listen to a piece of music that's slow, it's going to calm us down, it's going to slow down our breathing. Same thing is true with these frequencies. So if we have a frequency and our body hears, oh, that's the sound of a virus, that needs to be addressed. And so we start to adjust. And so it's really giving the body more information of how to sit up a little straighter, how to be in alignment.
I just, even listening to you speak, I felt myself kind of sitting up a little straighter as my breath started to even out, and because I'm just so excited to talk to you. I was like, oh, and I was like, as we were speaking, I'm like, oh, hey.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating. I've done a lot of just personal study into these things. I've done a little bit of speaking in regards to, working with, not only just music and sound, but also using words or mantras to kind of keep that in mind, and to be a physical cue for alignment. So. Yeah.
And so the mantra, and we were having this conversation last night, and let me just take a quick look that my camera's actually recording, because this is too good to find out that it wasn't. The recording button is on. So we were talking about this last night over dinner, and I mean, I've heard all sorts of takes on this, but something you said really clicked for me, and it was to do with, all the noise in our head, and how, when you say that mantra, that helps. It helps. Well, how was it that you were describing that?
So basically, it is a replacement for chatter, for worry, for it's even a sensation. Like we can imagine, a certain memory or something, and relive it in our bodies and get that sensation. And so when we do that, then it's kind of retraining our body to stay more in that zone than to get out into those chaotic and stress response places.
So I remembered what it was, because we had a family member with us at dinner who was saying, it's anytime they meditate or try to do these relaxation exercises, the noise in their head is just too loud. And so, and I've experienced that, and so I wasn't able to explain how to get past that other than just keep trying, And so when you said that, it kind of clicked for me. It's like, oh yeah, that replaces, like you're saying,
something else to think about, versus just trying to do nothing. Because our mind is constantly wanting to think about something, wanting to talk about something.
Right.
And so if we, first of all, just noticing that is the first step, noticing that this is what's going on, and then saying, okay, well, I'm going to replace that thought and this chatter with just maybe I'll sing a pitch, or maybe a certain, maybe it's a word, maybe it's love, just kind of keep that word in that space where it would be chattery, and it might come back into the chatter and just go back to the love. So it's a training thing, but it's very practical.
Let's say that's a very useful tool. That's explaining how. So what are you working on right now?
Well, let's see. I have, so just doing a little bit of traveling. Traveling is one of my best inspirations.
Which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, me too. So whenever I travel, it kind of creates that motion, and that translates for me into writing. And so I've already done a lot of writing since I've been, since I got on the airplane. I was writing, beautiful, beautiful skies and lots of inspiring places to see.
Interesting.
So that's what I'm up to right now. My next step, once I get back from traveling, I will be going back to the studio and doing another collaboration with a friend. And this is a song that I wrote, and then they asked to do a cover version of this song, because they like to help other local musicians and promote their music too.
Yeah.
And so the version that he created, I just loved it so much that we're going to record his version of it.
Oh,
and so we're going to come together and do that. So that's my next project. So.
Yeah, and you live in a very creative-centric space, right?
Yes.
There is a lot of
musicians, a lot of artists. That's, I'm lucky in that sense. I get to work with a lot of people. I've met a lot of people.
Right.
So, but then when you can, it's the highest honor when you get to put together something on a recording with somebody, because then you have that, you know, going forward forever, and you know.
Yeah. And so where can people find your music?
Online you can find, my website is hollytaylor432.com, and
Holly Taylor spelled?
HOLLYTAYLOR, and just the numbers, 432.net. Is my primary site.
Okay.
I have music on Spotify and all of streaming availabilities, YouTube, and my band name that you can find on there for a couple of singles that I put out in the last year is Holly Taylor and the Soul Thread Legion, and then I'm also in a band.
And we'll put all the links in the description box of this video.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm also in another group that has a website, folkandtheflow.com, and so we have some media coverage there and some music.
Yeah, and you were just featured in a magazine recently, weren't you? Music feature.
Yeah, yeah. So we had a city magazine did a feature on us and a few other local musicians.
Yeah.
And kind of followed our past year of music
Fantastic.
performances and things. So.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, would you sing us a song?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Take me to the sea of clouds, lattice of truth for knowing, rising to the higher ground, river of life bestowing, immersed in deepest reservoir, the soul can feel no pain, cleansing of a living soul, now the overflowing. Soul speak, eagles cry, to celebrate with you. Hope dance, you and I, listen for the cues. Soul speak, falcons fly, calling in the new. Hope dance, butterfly on a garden rendezvous. Touching earth and reaching sky, every soul expanding, silent flight into the night, inner understanding, eternity held in her wings, joy of love unfolding, song I will forever sing, the glory of beholding. Soul speak, eagles cry, to celebrate with you. Hope dance, you and I, listen for the cue. Soul speak, falcons fly, calling in the new. Hope dance, butterfly on a garden rendezvous. State of silence ringing true, stillness of this oneness, rays of knowledge raining through, the sky of love's abundance. Hear my greatest offering, pathway sage and golden, elemental gathering, sounding portals open. Soul speak,
thank you, Holly, for hanging out with me today. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. I've enjoyed it. So
Mm.
thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. I hope we can do it again one day.
Yeah.
And thank you all so much for subscribing, for liking the video, sharing the video, and commenting, and just being here and listening and joining in today. And I will see you all again in another video very soon.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Like a dreamer, I drift out and I wonder how it is in the current down below. How deeply from your heart are those words flowing? All I know is your medicine to my soul. All the colors of the clouds swirl around me. Daydreams of a life I'd like to know. 'Cause in this world we're comforted by longing. All I know is your medicine to my soul. If I would take one more step, would it be the last? And if I said how much I care for you, would it be forgotten in the past? All I know is your medicine to my soul. All I know is your medicine to my soul.